Alright, so resuming where we left off, we just got done with another date. And we're gonna see what happens this day. It looks like we're gonna have some kind of meeting with Princess Jaslyn? Who is that again? Jaslyn, I don't even remember. I just checked them out. Let's go back and refer to the guide. Jaslyn, which one? Oh, I think Jaslyn was the, one of the, what do you call them? She's like the people overseeing us. The advisors or something like that. Yeah, that's her. Because she's the representative of our country. Alright, let's go talk to her. You're unable to avoid accepting an invitation to late afternoon tea with Princess Jaslyn and her favorites, among who you are now convinced are the most gossipy set of delegates the Isle has ever seen. On the whole, you consider the affair one great waste of time, for what use is there in knowing, in greater detail than you ever wish to, the various types of undergarments used by the Skald warriors, or what color stockings is fashionable in the Welland court, or who is waking up their neighbors in the middle of the night practicing their violin. There was one bit of gossip, however, that seemed interesting, hopefully related to the threat that we had. Not that anyone else came out and said it, but it appears there are two factions among the Revere delegates, and they don't get along at all. Of course, no one was so helpful as to explain what their differences seemed to be. Well, it seemed like the two that we spoke to that had the blonde silvery hair, and by that I mean Jared and Gisette, they seemed a bit rude and like dicks. And Lord Claremont, he seems like a rather cool dude. He was polite to us. So I don't know if maybe that's the split. He was Gile. I think those were the three from Revere anyway. Oh well. There's plenty of time to worry about such things later. For now, you have things to do. Let's explore the castle and see what other things do. That means we should probably save. So we already tried jumping off the cliffs, and that actually was successful. What if we explored the Forbidden Wing again? Nothing of interest. That was just a waste. Let's go back and redo that. Lakeside gazebo. Search for a pleasant place. Regain some of your tranquility. So, oh. Apparently you are not the only one who had the idea, because as you get closer you recognize Princess Penelope, huddled into the gazebo, and it looks like she might be sniffling back tears. Oh no, what happened? Let's approach her and see what's wrong. You decide to approach. The princess looks up, surprise filling her watery eyes, and she smiles tentatively at you. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you hoping to use the gazebo? I can leave. She's already getting up and getting ready to leave before she even finishes offering. I'm gonna tell her to stay and ask her what's wrong with her. After your gentle nudging, Princess Penelope confesses to feeling overwhelmed by her first big event away from home. But you successfully convince her that she isn't alone, and that she has already made at least one friend, and she cheers up considerably. Okay, that was nice. A new day dawns, the self-introductions are tomorrow. You're grateful that the day does not yet appear to be too warm, since today is the day you have agreed to go riding with Crown Prince Lyle. How appropriate, we just saw his sister. You make your way to the gardens where you have arranged to meet before heading to the stables. You arrive slightly early and Prince Lyle is nowhere to be seen. Ah, everyone's showing up late these days, what's going on? Oh, that's alright, we'll just enjoy a blissful moment to ourselves. You don't have to wait long before the prince, elegantly bedecked in a perfectly tailored riding outfit, walks up to you, a smile that is somewhere between friendly and polite on his face. Lady Sora, good morning. I trust you slept well? I don't know. It kind of seems like a random option, but maybe he'll laugh about it. But I'm kind of doubting it, that's why I'm going to save and see what happens. He laughs aloud at your story, face brightening. Yes, that is very strange. I hope you don't mind, but my sister's on her way. When I told her my morning plan, she looked like she wanted to join, so I invited her. Of course, it's no problem. She's a great girl. Plus, she seems like she's having trouble getting used to the other people around, and we're on good terms with her, so that'd be rude to make her stay out of this. He smiles gratefully. I'm glad. I really hope the two of you can become friends. Princess Penelope, practically stumbling over her dress in a hurry to reach you, and her brother greets you breathlessly. I'm here. So sorry I'm late, but my maid couldn't find my riding costume anywhere, and well, never mind, that's a terribly boring story. It's far more important that you get here in one piece, sister, than exactly on time, and if you trip and hurt yourself, neither will be true. Penelope smiles shyly. If we let my brother continue to lecture me, then we will never get to ride. Shall we head to the stables, Lady Sora? Lecture? How could what I said, which for the record was barely 2 sentences, countenance a lecture? Penelope bashfully links arms with you, while turning around to stick out her tongue at her brother. To the stables, Lady Sora, to the stables. And if my brother falls behind, let's just leave him. After a short interlude, filled with the politest sibling bickering you have ever heard, and the quick work of very efficient native staff in the stables, the 3 of you are mounted and ready to ride. Princess Lyle leads the pair of you at a gentle pace, Princess Penelope naturally falling to the side, falling in to ride side by side, shooting you happy, but still little timid smiles. You have successfully drawn her out by asking her to tell you a little about her favorite hobbies, reading and embroidery, when it quickly becomes apparent there's a problem. It has 4 legs, 4 hooves, and it goes neigh. I wonder what that is. By the 3rd time your horse has tried to murder you, and you're fairly certain it's an intentional effort by attempting to unseat you, and the 4th time it stopped in its tracks, refusing to do anything but stamp its hooves, and roll its eyes in an angry glare at its hoofs, horsey curses at you, you're ready to give up and spend the rest of the ride walking. This isn't gonna do. If things keep up, you're gonna end up injured, dead, or deathly embarrassed in front of their clearly expert rider royal siblings. What do you do? Use your persuasive force of will to negotiate with the beast. I guess that's what we're gonna have to try out anyway. You hop off the horse at the next stop and look at him in the eye. Horse, unless you want to tell your lovely handlers you don't need any treats for the foreseeable future because you are impossible, I think we had better try and get along, since we're stuck together until the end of this ride. But if you stop acting up, I'll make sure to tell them you deserve extra carrots and sugar lumps today. The horse snorts and stomps his feet, just enough to prove he's his own person, will to speak. But after you remount, he's remarkably better behaved. Princess Penelope can't help laughing and giving the horse an encouraging pat, while Prince Lyle's eyes twinkle with amusement and approval. When your patience is just about worn out, Princess Penelope proves your unlikely savior, and as she gently brings her horse to a halt and looks up pleadingly at her brother. Look at all the flowers, can I go pick some? Prince Lyle shakes his head, but smiles indulgently and nods. Excited, Princess Penelope quickly dismounts and heads into the field of flowers you have chanced upon and starts fluttering about in a way you can only describe as full of frolic. Yes, that day you found out that princess who frolics in flower fields aren't just a pretty myth put out by bards. Although you have the feeling that he is still keeping at least half an eye on his sister, Prince Lyle. Oh, let me read that again. Although you have the feeling that he is still keeping at least half an eye on his sister, Prince Lyle, for the first time on his ride, turns his attention to you. Even though the invitation came from the prince himself, you had begun to suspect that a big part of his motivation was for the sake of making sure his sister made a friend at the summit. Well, yeah, I had a reason to suspect that as well. How do you feel about that? Well, I'm really not too upset about that, mostly because, and let me check this one more time just to make sure. I kind of get the impression, and I said this before in the last stream, but I kind of get the impression that Prince Lyle might be gay. Because it seems like they were hinting something, that there was some kind of like controversy that the Grand Duke pointed out to us about why we shouldn't try to date Prince Lyle, but he didn't tell us what it was. And then he described his sister as being very accepting of him, which I thought was an odd term to use. And concerning the fact that he pretty much only seems to be here for the sake of his sister, and doesn't seem to have much interest in the women. I don't know, that's just my theory anyway. Alright, let's see. Yeah, it's kind of cute, they're adorable together. Yeah, I think it's cute. And they're certainly adorable together, it was a very cute ride. You smile fondly at Penelope, still happily gallivanting amongst the flowers in the distance. I hope you're not too attached to your sister, Your Highness, for I am half convinced I shall have to kidnap her and claim her for my own. She is an excellent sister, I agree, which is why I simply cannot agree to hand her over to anyone, even you, Lady Sora. A terrible tragedy. Perhaps we can work out some sort of shared custody arrangement. The princess stops what she's doing and stares at the pair of you accusingly. You two are talking about me, I can tell. You laugh and return her shout with a teasing one of your own. Only about who gets to keep you. The best sort of talking, I promise. She smiles cheerfully and goes back to her flowers, and Prince Lyle sends you a grateful glance, clearly pleased that you made his sister even happier. Prince Lyle shakes his head and gives you a rueful smile. You must think me terribly overprotective of my poor sister, but I worry about her, especially here. So she tries so hard to live up to what she thinks she should be, which generally ends up with her miserable, especially here at the summit. Well, yeah, this can't be easy for her. It's not easy for us. But you didn't come riding with me to hear me do nothing but talk of my sister. I'm beginning to understand it's an important topic for you. Ah, Lady Sora, you're right, I apologize. I've been rather dreadful company thus far, haven't I? Shall we speak of something else, about you perhaps? If you truly wish to make it up to me, we should speak about you instead. For I know everything interesting there is to know about myself, and virtually nothing personal about you at all. I suppose that's fair. What do you wish to know? What are your goals for the summit? Can't imagine it's being easier for the crown prince than for the princess. What are you looking for? Probably not that one, it's too forward. Something that no one else knows about you. It's rather vague. I kind of like sympathizing with him a bit and seeing what he says, see if we can get some information out of him. I am, as I always am, perfectly fine. Well, that sounds like an evasion if I've ever heard one. You may trust me enough to complain a little, Your Highness. I promise not to go around trumpeting that you have for 5 seconds dropped the facade of the perfect prince. He shakes his head at you, the corners of his mouth tugging up at your accusation. Oh no, now we offended him. You are a very strange lady, Sora. Such compliments you give, Your Highness. First you ignore me after inviting me in favor of your sister, and now you call me strange to my face. Why, my heart is all aflutter. Any further conversation is interrupted as Penelope makes her way back to the pair of you. She stops by your horse and looks up at you, smiling in her happy, shy way as she offers you the fruits of her efforts, a flower crown. For you, Lady Sora. Between the expectant looks on both siblings' faces, you can't bring yourself to refuse, so you take the crown and put it on top of your hair. There are very few people I would so endanger my dignity for, Princess. I hope you feel sufficiently special. Prince Lyle chuckles, while his sister squeals in delight. Oh, you look so pretty. Like a picture, doesn't she, brother? Yes, indeed. Like a farm maiden dancing in a field. Again with the compliments, Your Highness, I swoon. He laughs, but as the sun begins to grow warm with the midday heat, he suggests you should all go back inside. You still think his concern is more for his sister's welfare than your own, but you agree anyway. No one likes getting too sweaty. The three of you have a cheerful conversation all the way back to the stables. If you've learned anything about the Crown Prince during your morning together, it's that he is very hard to read, and it doesn't open up easily. It'll be far more difficult to grow close to him than you anticipated. Yeah, definitely. Still, your morning adventures with a difficult horse has given you practice managing to remain relatively physically graceful under strain, a skill you think may serve you well on your next ball, if nothing else. So you can't consider the day's efforts too unproductive. And a friendly ride completed. Nice. Sometimes it seems as if you are destined to be cursed with unfortunate seat partners. Not again, really? It's the third time in a row. First, you have inadvertently angered whoever among the staff was in charge of seating charts. Jasper is setting up another pile of improving books for you to read, so you decide to ask him. No, I think you should have heard if you had displeased Mrs. White. Why do you ask? What happened at dinner this time? You sigh heavily. I had to stop a Skolt warrior from stabbing a well-in lord with her dinner knife. Should we really be giving the Skolts such sharp weapons at the dinner table? Probably not. Although, it'd probably be a bit rude to not give them the basic, silvery. The cutlery. Jasper blinked at you, the sides of his mouth twitching a very little. You sighed again, remembering again how what was supposed to be a pleasant dinner escalated into chaos and near murder. Unnatural. What did you mumble about, oh puffy panted one? One of your endless boring comments of the weather, perhaps? I said it's positively unnatural, a blight against the gods. What is a blight against your weak gods? It is not our gods, it is the gods, the only true gods. Only you heathens in Skult, Gile, and Hisei are so ignorant and misguided to think differently. Oh no, not another religious debate. This always ends poorly. Your puny gods are not our gods, therefore there must be other gods. Unnatural heathen. This is what happens from allowing women into the domains of the gods to create for men. Oh no, not this again. If it were up to me, Wellen would invade you post-haste and put all your unnatural creatures under the rightful leadership of good husbands, so you can live in the kitchens and domestic sphere where you belong. Surely the king, in his divine wisdom, will recognize the need to spread his father's truth to such a forsaken land and lead us to the God's blessed victory against your people soon. Wow, this guy's gonna go off the rails quickly. And that's about when her face turned purple with rage and she lunged at him with her dinner knife. You rubbed your head just remembering the pounding headache that had caused. Yes, I'm sure it is no surprise they cannot get along. The two nations are truly on the brink of war. We can only hope that somehow they find a way to negotiate peace during the summit. Otherwise, it's doomed for war for sure. You just hope that war, if it begins, won't be started by someone stabbing someone sitting next to you at the dinner table. But after tonight, your hopes weren't exactly optimistic. In any case, you refused to let them ruin your evening. You still had plans. Alright, so what should we do now? We've gotten some of our stats up by doing activities with other people. Like, I think it said we got something from doing the riding, but I don't know what it was because I kind of forgotten already. Might have been something like poise? Wasn't poise an option somewhere? It was like poise or grace, I think. We still haven't seen what everything in the castle does, so let's explore around a bit more maybe. Explore the castle. Ballroom. I'll probably do dancing or something like that. You spend some time dancing around in the ballroom. There's something about this room because by spending time in it, you feel your natural charisma increasing. That's good. Where's our charisma? Skills, right? Charisma is up to 55. Alright, that's cool. A new day dawns. The self-introductions are today. Oh no, already? Today's the day of your event. It's gonna be interesting. Your week has been so busy you can hardly believe you had the time to pull it together, but you did. Finally, the preparations and the planning are done, although you had to wake up extremely early in the morning, far before the sun, to ensure it. It is no small miracle, especially considering the fact that you also have your self-introductions later today to worry about. Jasper, who you think got even less sleep than you did, walks up and nods at you gravely. We finally have a final head count for today's attendance. Princess Annalie has agreed to attend the musical, although her butler thought it was necessary to remind us that this sort of event is not the type that the princess has much experience with. Princess Lyle has accepted your invitation to the musical. Prince Hammond has enthusiastically accepted your invitation to the musical. Duke Lion has declined your invitation. Duke Woodley has agreed to attend your musical. Lord Claremont has regretfully declined your invitation. Oh, boo. Earl Emmett has agreed to attend your musical and is enthusiastically looking forward to it. Prince Penelope has sent her please acceptance. So, 6 people have accepted your invitation and will join you for your musical. 6 out of 8 ain't bad, I guess. You already have heard whispers among the staff that the world-famous trio of musicians you hired arrived earlier this morning. You walk into the music room to find them already beginning to warm up. It's barely a few notes, but already you feel enchanted. Like you have been transported into another, more magical world. You're really looking forward to hearing them perform in earnest. You barely have time to flutter about with Jasper, making sure your musicians are well set up, that the seating is comfortable, and everything is ready before your guests start to arrive. So far, Grand Duke Woodley has seemed mostly impervious to any invitations or attempts at conversation from delegates, and it's not from lack of effort. The fact that he's agreed to attend your musical is worthy of note, which will only increase your reputation as a hostess. Oh, awesome! So it was a good decision to invite him along because it's going to boost our reputation. Glad we did it. You had a few refusals, but enough people have accepted your invitation that you don't feel embarrassed and your reputation won't suffer. You have a small amount of time to welcome and chat with your guests before the music is set to begin. Do you want to, or do you prefer to allow them to chit-chat amongst themselves? We'll talk to them personally. You welcome your guests cheerfully and spend a little time talking to them and making sure that they find their seats. They all look a little happier than they did before you talked to them. The music starts and your guests quickly hush to listen. Barely a few measures into the first song and you realize why the trio is so famous. Instantly, you and all your guests are completely captivated by the performance, drawn into the music, and held its captive prisoner. The music halts for a brief intermission. How do you want to use this time? What's stronger, our persuasive abilities or our intelligence? I think probably our persuasive abilities, because we focused on that in the character generation. By the end of the intermission, smiles are beaming and spirits are soaring. You've done an amazing job, you think, if you're saying so yourself. The music soon resumes, hushing conversation as everyone once again focuses their attention on the performance. You're just beginning to truly relax and enjoy yourself, forgetting about the self-introductions later in the day. When the music comes to a close, soon it will be time for all your guests to leave and prepare for the rest of the day. But first, it is traditional for you to publicly thank any musician who performed at your event. You rise to your feet and eloquently express your appreciation for the music, and those who made it in a way that has your guests clapping in agreement. The music at an end, your guests chat with one another, a little, but one by one, they drift to you to give their goodbyes. Prince Lyle gives you a smile. Thank you for the invitation, Lady Sora. I enjoyed myself. Earl Emmett bounds up to you, whistling cheerfully. Thanks for the invitation, Lady Sora. I'm sure glad you thought to include me. Princess Penelope smiles brightly at you. Thank you for inviting me, Lady Sora. I'm glad we're becoming friends. Princess Anna comes up to you, shaking her head a little. It is strange the customs here, where you're supposed to sit and stay still and listen to the music. It is better to move and dance and clap, and be part of the music. Still, I like being with you, Lady Sora. If I must endure stone sitting and polite claps to see you smile, I will. Hammond grins at you mischievously. Hello, Glitter. I'm glad you invited me. If there's one thing I miss when I'm on my ship, it is proper music. Still, next time let's sneak off and do something a little more adventurous, shall we? Grand Duke Woodley steps on his way out to give you an appraising look. I never expected to be tendered an invitation I couldn't refuse. His study of you is so intense, it's almost a struggle to respond without making yourself sound stupid. You manage, and feel more confident in your speaking abilities as a consequence. Awesome. I had no idea it was so hard to refuse me, Your Grace. Perhaps it is music I cannot refuse. I never implied it had anything to do with the invitation supplier. In that case, I hope the music was good enough to please such a passionate fan. It was surprising, but not displeasing. That Grand Duke is an interesting fellow. Still not sure what to make of him. But I feel that it's good that we got to see a bit more of him. Let's see. As the last guests leave, so ends your duties as hostess. Your first event is done, but how do you think you did? Pretty well, I'd say. Your musical went well, you're a skilled hostess. Nice. Jasper comes up to you, a slight crease in his brow. Lady Sora, there's been a small hiccup in the preparations for the self-introductions. Accordingly, they have been delayed, leaving us with some unexpected free time before you're due. Your expression had me expecting your news to be dour, but extra time seems like an excellent thing to me. Perhaps it is. He still seems pensive, which leads you to wonder what is truly going on. In any case, you have enough to worry about. You're about to look at a gift of extra time to prepare or explore in the mouth. Okay, I see what it's saying. You aren't about to look at a gift of extra time to prepare or explore in the mouth. So which one should we do? For our self-introductions, we should probably have our speech up. So maybe we should do some last-minute thing there. Our eloquence is very, very high. Our charm is decent-ish. Charisma's doing good. Etiquette, it's alright. Let's see. It's probably gonna be more about like speech than knowledge, I'm guessing. So maybe I'm gonna try to get either charm up, or maybe I'll get grace or poise, because that might be important for the thing as well. Let's see. Is there an option here for charm? I wonder how you get your charm up. Let's see. Whoa, that was loud. I'm not sure where you get your charm up exactly. Maybe I'll just have to work on etiquette, because that'll be a bit easier and it's probably going to be important for the meeting with everyone. He spent some time reading up some old etiquette guides. Jasper made no further mention of whatever had delayed the self-introduction, but as he led you into a big open room with a makeshift podium and an audience made mostly of empty chairs, you could only assume it had been resolved. Servants aren't allowed to stay in the main room, but I will be watching you from the viewing room, and I will come to collect you as soon as the event is finished. He doesn't wish you good luck, although you can tell by his reassuring smile he hopes you do well. Well, obviously. Then he leaves and you are alone, or at least I would hope. But not before long. Oh no. Lady Avali soon joins you, watching as your contemporaries fill in with a bemused smirk. Good evening, Lady Sora. Do you think we shall be lucky tonight? I'm sorry? You are right. It's highly unlikely we'll have any such luck. I imagine at least half of the delegates are in love with the sound of their own voices. Well, I bet you're one of them, and it's probably less than half, mostly just people like you. After a mysterious delay, I won't be surprised if we're stuck here listening to everyone's grand ambitions and fondness for fruit pudding until just before daybreak. Before you have the opportunity to respond to that, Grand Duke Woodley walks up to the pair of you, his eyes twinkling with a strange emotion you can't place, but a placid expression on his face. Well, what do we have here but two early birds? I hope you're implying we are swans, Your Grace, not something like pigeons hoping to eat worms. Do pigeons eat worms? You should know, it is your analogy. So what do you think, Lady Sora? Are you swans or pigeons? Surely you don't expect me to pick sides, Your Grace. We are both such fearsome opponents. I have no wish to gain your ire over something as superfluous as a poor analogy. They laugh approvingly at your response. I am pleased to have run into you, Lady Sora. How are you enjoying your stay at the Isle? Keeping busy? I swear we have not seen hide nor hair of you all week. I just saw you yesterday, dude. Or no, it was earlier today even, I think. And again with the beastly analogies, Your Grace. Lady Sora is a lady. You must think of her delicate feelings. I wasn't aware of being female automatically cursing you with delicate emotional constitutions. It's usually quite the reverse in my opinion. But you distracted me, Lady Avali, and I will not allow it. Lady Sora? We have a couple of options here. I'm gonna say because I'm done in a while. I don't know if I like any of these options very much. I'm not gonna do this one because it's not really an insult. He's just being playful. Talking about the reputation. You might enjoy the barbing back and forth. I don't know, I think I'm gonna go with the first one though, because it's pretty neutral. No, I don't think so. I guess he probably would enjoy the barbing like I thought at first, let's see. The Grand Duke blinks and slowly smiles. At the very least, I shall make sure not to have a reputation for avoiding you in the future, Lady Sora. It is hard to feel entirely comfortable when wedged into conversation between Grand Duke Woodley and Lady Avali. So when you realize that doing your little chat, most of the delegates have filed in and taken their seats, you feel a little bit of relief. Especially if, as Lady Avali fears, this evening's going to take a long time, you'd really rather it got started. You're ushered to a free seat by a servant who keeps shooting the head, butler, nervous glances. After you and everyone else has been successfully seated, another servant comes around with a basket filled with rocks. Okay. Every delegate pulls one out to find a number painted. You pull number 42, which means you'll be one of the last delegates to introduce yourself. How appropriate. You don't know which you would have considered luckier, if no one is asleep by the time you go, or if they all are. Duke Lion had the distinction to pull number 1, but by the bitter expression on his face, you would think he was being marched up to his execution, not an introduction. I am Duke Lion of Gile. After that abrupt announcement, the Duke promptly stalks up and blobs back into his seat. Well, that was a quick one. Lady Avali leans over to whisper to you, her eyes twinkling with amusement. If all the introductions are like that, I might get out of here at a reasonable hour after all. They aren't all like that. Some of them are so long and boring you have to pinch yourself to keep yourself awake. No such measures are necessary when Princess Annalie stomps to the podium and grins. I am Annalie of Skolt, warrior of first ranking, and happy to be here among all these pretty peoples. Even if you do even if you do have so many rules and stiffy stuffiness. I plan on using the summit to battle for Lady Sora's heart and bring her back to Skult with me. Well, that's rather forward. After that bold pronouncement, Princess Anna grins wider and dances back to her seat. The poor delegate from Arlen that was forced to follow the princess's short speech forgot half her words and spent a miserable 5 minutes stuttering. It didn't help that Anna kept sending her winks, and the Skults whistled at her blushes. The head butler cleared his throat disapprovingly, and the business of the introductions continued again with something better resembling propriety. Crown Prince Lyle gave a charming self-introduction, as suited, the perfect prince, but do you think the smile he sent your way when he caught your eye was one of the few heartfelt moments of his speech? That's cool. Oh no. Princess Gisette was especially well decked out for the self-introductions, and gave her speech with perfect poise and a small smile painted on her face. She gave you a stiff smile and bared her teeth, into a sharp smile as she passed you on her way back to her seat. Princess Penelope was chosen to follow Princess Gisette, and the fact made her look even more nervous than normal. She stuttered and flushed while introducing herself to the room. You catch her eye and smile reassuringly, and she breaks into such a brilliant, relieved smile, she charms the room entirely incidentally. Hammond somehow manages to use his self-introduction to pull off some sleight of hand, and as he declares his purpose in coming to appreciate treasure, especially the kind that glitters, I wonder what he's talking about, you realize that he has managed to put a golden rose into your hair without anyone noticing. Wow. Lady Avalie gave you a pointed smile as it was her turn to go up, and somehow she managed to say a lot during her introduction without actually saying anything at all. The mark of a politician. Earl Emmett makes the whole room laugh with his good-natured self-introduction, and he gives you a particularly warm grin as he bashfully shuffles back to his seat. You struggle to keep your expression serene and your eyes open. Most of the people you've gotten to know have already gone, and now you're forced to listen to dull introduction after dull introduction. Oh, and here he is. You aren't the only one who's struggling. Prince Jared's expression grows darker and darker as his irritation grows. Finally, when the next delegate stands up to go, the prince grabs the rock out of his hand, shoves his, second to last, when in exchange, and stomps irritably to the podium. Huh. I can't imagine that there's anyone here who doesn't know who I am, but we were told we had to introduce ourselves, and I've been informed there are no exceptions. What a dick. I am the next king of Revere, here for the purpose of diplomacy. The prince nods imperiously and walks back to his seat. Thankfully for the health of the red in the face from outraged head butler, after Prince Jared, no one else did anything the least bit objectionable. Then both, after what felt like forever and no time at all, it was your turn. Moment of truth. You stand up after the 41st person to go has gone and feel all eyes on you. You can practically see as the more appearance-conscious of the delegates analyze your dress, your hair, your style and appearance. You don't think that you meet their standards of beauty. Oh well, whatever. You make your way to the podium and turn to face the tens of people staring back at you. You have neither the poise nor the courage to remain calm under the amount of pressure. You can feel your palms starting to sweat and your voice shakes nervously. Oh no, we weren't prepared for this at all, I guess, even though we did get our courage up a little bit, I thought. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lady Sora from Corval. Should you add anything further to your introduction? Yeah, of course. Let's see, which of these can we do to our advantage? Let's save. That way we don't mess up and get ourselves killed. Charm the crowd, influence the crowd, tell the crowd a relevant fact, make the crowd laugh. I don't know if this will work. It might backfire, but let's start off by making ourselves seem more human and vulnerable. You know, one of the best ways to get people to like and trust you is to show them some vulnerabilities. You share a story about your home life that has no potential to damage you, but still makes people feel like they learned something personal. And next we'll make the crowd. We'll influence them to like us, let's say. With some careful body language and an engaging manner, you can tell the crowd is responding the way you want them to. Tell them a relevant fact. I can't think of a relevant fact to add. Alright, never mind. So we'll charm the crowd. After a few quick personal anecdotes, and the crowd is smiling at you, and then make them laugh. Oh, our attempts at humor fall flat. Maybe we should undo that one. We made a poor joke that was in bad taste and offended everyone. Nothing else. Satisfied that you have introduced yourself to your own satisfaction, prepare to sit back down when you're interrupted by a question. It's gonna be the guy that we don't like, or the woman we don't like. Well, she's the one that I dislike the least, or the lesser out of the two, but still, of course you would have to say something. Oh, don't sit down yet, Lady Sora. You haven't yet told us what you're hoping to achieve at this summit. Huh? Enough people are looking at you with echoing curiosity that you have a feeling you won't be able to get out of answering. That doesn't mean you have to tell the truth, however. How do you answer? Oh, wow. You know what? I'm going to leave this option for you guys to decide, so I'm going to wait a bit and see what the response from the chat is to see which one we should pick. There's quite a few different options, and we'll see which one is the most liked. We can talk it out. So, I hope to best serve my nation. That's pretty bland, but it's probably not too harmful either. I came to the Isle looking for love. That's another one that's kind of bland, but it probably wouldn't get us in trouble. Future spouse, kind of the same thing. Between my nation and the other nations. Now, the last one here that I'm seeing, it looks rather ambitious, like these last couple. So, like, while we might want to do one of these, it might also get us in trouble. The fourth one seems to be a popular option. I think that one might be the best political one. So it looks like we're most likely going to go with the fourth option, the one where it says, I hope to further relationships between my nation and the other nations. Sounds like a pretty political answer, right? Like these other ones here, I wish to help create history, my ambitions to witness as history is being made, and I want to follow in the footsteps of Katia. That sounds too ambitious, like people are going to start to suspect us. We're only going to get in more trouble from there, I think. So let's do 4. Are you lying? Yeah, I think we're lying. You don't think I would tell the truth to everyone, do you? In that case, where do your true ambitions lie? True ambitions. Alright, I'm gonna tell you guys which one I'm leaning towards, and then I'm curious to hear which ones you're leaning towards. So, the one that I'm leaning towards is I'm interested in seeing, like, what happens if we follow Katia's legacy. Because that's kind of an interesting backstory, like, what's the whole deal with this girl and, how she came to this, like, strange island that no one ever found before. But I'm not sure how that'll affect things, because someone's saying that it might affect our relationships, and that could be true. Maybe it is more important to just try to find our romance or something, pursue our crush. Let's see, number 3, forging alliances. That's kind of close to what we already said, isn't it? That is kind of the reason why we came here, though, isn't it? To forge alliances with others. But that's also part of Katia's legacy, was to forge alliances and to the betterment of the world as a whole. I'm thinking Katia's legacy or romance would probably be one of the ones that I'd pick, and I'm leaning towards Katia's legacy because I feel like it'll probably be one of the more interesting options. Although, speaking again, it is the demo, so we're probably not going to see how it fully pans out, if we even survive that long. So let's see where this goes for now. You pause after your answer. Wait and see if anyone else is going to surprise you with a question. When they do not, you start to walk back towards your seat. Even though you're put on the spot, you manage your answer, and really your self-introduction at large, with a great deal of eloquence. The good part about being one of the last one of the delegates to go is that you don't have to wait long before the evening is over. You can finally escape to your own room in your welcoming bed. As you lie in bed attempting to fall asleep, you think about your second major challenge since you arrived at the summit and how you think you did. You feel fairly confident in your performance. Yeah, you did pretty good so far. Challenge, great success actually, wow. I'm impressed. Even though we failed a couple of those first initial checks there, still did good overall. Nice. Still, thinking about it any further will only ensure you manage to get no sleep at all. So you put it from your mind and drift off to sleep with the final waking thought that you finished your first week at the summit. What a week that was, wow. It's probably going to be ending here then I'm thinking about it. Congratulations on finishing your first week on Vail Isle. It's been a very busy week with many things happening. Like meeting the matchmaker. That's right, exactly. It's unfortunate, but you don't think there's anything you could have done to make her like you any better. By the way, how do you feel about that? Who's talking right now? It's probably like it's probably supposed to be like the game developers, and it's like the end of the demo, so that they're like asking for your opinion on what happened, I guess. Let's see. I feel determined to do better and prove her wrong. I think that's the point of the game. Good luck, I hope that goes well for you. And you've met many different people. Yes, so many that sometimes I can't keep track of them all and forget who's who. Thankfully, you've been taking notes in your journal. Yes, I've been checking every now and then. Of all the people we met, who has struck our fancy? Has any of them... Oh, we don't have to say who specifically. Yeah, there's definitely like one or two that I'm keeping an eye on. I'm curious what you guys are thinking, because I have seen a few of you seem to enjoy Anna. She's pretty amusing. And she's probably like one of the more heartfelt ones that we've met so far. I also like the guy that's a pirate, which I always forget his name, Hammond. Let's see, which one should I say? Just one, I'm ready to build a harem. Yeah, I think there's someone that might be special. Oh, really? Oh, for your sake that they're thinking the same. Still, it's only been 1 week. You still have 6 more to go. If your first was any indication, you're in for quite the time. Are you feeling prepared to face all the challenges ahead of you? I'm more nervous than Nelly. Yeah, bring it on, I'm ready for it. I mean, I say that, but probably actually gonna get ourselves killed the first go around, or at least the first 2 or 3. I admire your spirit. I hope your skills live up to it. Probably not, if I'm being perfectly honest. Well, I have your attention, I should warn you. Next you slip into a proper deep sleep, and when you wake up in the morning, you've forgotten all about your strange dream. Bright light battles its way into your eyes as morning makes its presence known. Reluctantly, you open your eyes to see Jasper staring down at you impatiently, and you're feeling you've slept in. Oh, that's weird. I actually thought it was going to end there. Because it seemed like it was ending up. Maybe it's going on for just a bit longer. I'm going to ask you guys in chat if you happen to know how much longer this demo is. Because I kind of felt like that was going to be the ending, but now it seems to be still going on for a bit. Anyway, I'll continue on until I see a response, since it's a bit delayed. Good morning, Lady Sora. As it is the start of a new week, we need to discuss your schedule. Since we're running a little late this morning, perhaps during breakfast. I'll return after you've changed. Although you slept for some time, you don't feel at all rested. You essentially sleepwalk through getting dressed as Syra and Rhea move you around like a very tired doll. It's only when seated in front of a steaming cup of chai and delicious plates of food that you begin to perk up. Which is, of course, the exact minute Jasper clears his throat and gives you his let's get down to business face. Oh, and by the way, we are doing challenge mode. Well, we'll see how that goes. There's only one mandatory group event planned this week, a riding picnic expedition to explore the island. We have found it safer if we give the attendees a tour of all the safe spots before you all go off exploring on your own. Princess Penelope has issued you an invitation to join her for breakfast one morning this week. Would you like to accept? Yeah, of course, I like Penelope. She's fun to be around. I'll inform her butler. Princess Cordelia's invited you to join her for tea. Sure. Very well. In lieu of hosting an event this week, you're one of the few delegates that have been selected to have a chance to lead a team during the long-time summit tradition, the boat race on the lake. Captains are in charge of recruiting a team of fellow delegates to man the ship and lead them during the race. Would you like to be a captain? Yeah, I'm gonna take a quick break for a second just to address something someone said in chat. So it seems like the demo is gonna continue on for quite a bit until we get to our second meeting with the matchmaker, and she decides whether we're worthy or not again. But if I read that right, that's in another 2 weeks of the in-game time, so that's actually quite long, especially considering how long this first week was just now. It took us 2 whole streams to get through it. So, I'm probably gonna get through this final conversation here, and we're probably gonna wrap things up, since it's obviously gonna take at least probably another 2 streams to get through all this, since it's much longer than I thought. But we'll get through this for now. So yeah, I think I'm up for the challenge. It sounds interesting. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to get, who to help us out. Hammond. He'll be on our team, won't he? Very well, Lady Sora. I'll inform the organizers of your decision. In the meantime, start thinking about who you might wish to invite to join your team. This will leave you with 10 blocks of free time. Is this acceptable? Sure, that's fine. Finally, you received a letter. What's this about? Fair lady, we have not had the chance to get to know one another. In fact, the first I have truly seen of you was during your self-introduction, during which I found you enchanting, eloquent, and charming, which is why I feel compelled to give you a warning. This is not a safe place to stand out as exceptional. I urge you to be careful this week, a friend. I'm suspecting that this has come from, Grand Duke Woodley. Is that his name? I always get it mixed up. But yeah, I think that's the Grand Duke who's talking to us, because he said something like, it's like I'm seeing you for the first time. So he's giving us a warning that we shouldn't be seen as exceptional, and apparently we're making an impression already, which probably isn't a good thing to do. Alright, let's see. You can feel your eyebrows rising as you read the letter. Is it a warning or a threat? It's rather complimentary to be either one. Who could it be from? I'm thinking it's from the Grand Duke. No matter what the truth of the letter is, you can only conclude that you must take it seriously. If you're getting letters like this, then you truly are in danger, from the sender or someone else you don't know. It'll be best to be careful this week. I didn't recognize the handwriting on the address, and seeing your expression is something distressing, Lady Sora. Perhaps you should show the letter to Jasper and see what he thinks. You know what? I'm not entirely sure if I trust Jasper. I really am not. Like, he's the first person we met we were told to never fully trust anyone. And that seems like he's the first one that might be the traitor. If there's any traitor involved, which I'm assuming there has to be. I mean, come on. I don't know. Do we trust Jasper enough? Yeah, I'll think it over in chat for a bit, because it seems like some people are giving their opinions. So it is a bit difficult to deal with it on our own, though we do have other people that are on our side. Saving here? Yeah, that's definitely the smart idea, I think. We'll definitely save. If it were a small matter, I would deal with it alone, but with something this serious, I feel consulting Jasper would be wisest. It would be wisest unless he actually is the one that we should be careful of. And we don't know who sent us that. I mean, if someone snuck into our room, they have to be someone that can get into our room, and that's not many people. So it would either be him or one of the servants, I would think. I don't know, man. Well, I think we're gonna trust him for now. We're gonna choose the third option because it's the less enthusiastic. I think it's. Man, I'm really suspicious of him, but I'm gonna go with this for now and we'll see what happens. You hesitate before handing the letter to Jasper. I don't know how serious this is, but it seems best to be prepared for the worst. Jasper reads the letter, a slight frown creasing his brow. It may mean nothing, but I agree that it's wisest to be safe. I'll do what I can to look into this. In the meantime, I suggest you go about your morning as normal. You had no schedules this morning, so you may spend your time as you wish. And the problem with that is, if he is working against us, then that informs him that someone tried to warn us, and it might make, I mean, this is all assuming that the Duke is on our side, which I'm not even sure of. I'm not sure of anything right now, really. Alright, so I think that's probably where we're going to end it off right now. Because before we get into a whole new week, which is going to take a while, we'll leave off the stream there. And then at some point I'll have to resume this, though I'm not quite sure when. I'll probably announce it at some point later. Someone was asking me before if like I have some kind of schedule for this, and I really don't, though I do every once in a while announce things on Twitter. So if you want, you can follow me on Twitter, and I'll usually announce when I'm going to be streaming, probably like a day or so beforehand.